Good morning, everyone. Most spiritual disciples who are seeking the spiritual knowledge and seeking to evolve themselves are often told, get detached. This one word is so easy to advise others and yet so difficult to practice. Most people don't even know what is it to get detached. So what they do is they turn indifferent. What is indifference? Indifference is that attitude of, I don't care. So I don't care for my body. I don't care for my people. I don't care for my house. I don't care for my finances. I don't care for my life. Ki farak penda hai, how does it matter? And yet that is not a true detachment. Detachment is beyond indifference, where you become a neutral observer. You can love, you can care for, you can take care, you can do everything that you need to. And yet, you're not emotionally entangled and involved. You can have compassion and you can move on and may not get affected by what has happened or what's happening in the now. You can be a neutral observer without getting into the stories. That is detachment. Now, how do you reach there? It's a question mark. So most people start with indifference. Before even the story of detachment happens, there is disillusionment, despair, disbelief, a lot of betrayals, a lot of letdowns, all that happens. So you essentially do it out of inspiration, desperation, or conspiration. I know conspiration is not the story, is not the right English word, but I would say it because it's rhyming. So you're essentially inspired to be detached. All of us, in fact, all of us need to learn the art of detachment, but we don't learn it so easily because we've also been given the program of attachment. So comes an important phase of life where there are desperate moments. You've no choice but to go there. And then the universe conspires to an extent that you don't even feel like uh, connecting to that particular person or object or article or property or element. And then you just turn indifferent to them. Now, it's a very painful process for most people if they have to go to a level of conspiracy. A lot of sad things that happen in your life is essentially to take you towards detachment. However, that doesn't happen, so you generally turn indifferent. Why? Why do we need to be even detached? Number of reasons. One, if you're very, very attached, you cannot have an objective overview. It's like being able to see your palm at a very, close distance. You'll not be able to see it. But you take it at an optimum level, you'll be able to see it with clarity. A lot of mess that is there, even in therapist life, psychologist life, they cannot sort it out because they are involved party, they are attached to it. A third person can see through it much easily. That's why professionals can see your life much better. A known person can read you through and through, and sometimes your closest relative or you yourself cannot see through your patterns. That is because you're so attached to your stories. So, number one, to be a better observer. And number two, that's the most important thing, is to continue with progress. Why? Evolution and change is the norm of this universe. Where we are, nothing is allowed to stagnate. Everything is moving. And that's essential because stagnation can be detrimental. Attachment threatens stagnation. And you do not continue evolving and moving on. And that's why detachment is really necessary. When you stop growing because of your attachment, when you stop evolving because of your attachment to anything, you will be prompted time and again to get detached and go to the next experience, next phase of life, next exposures or next project, whatever it means for you. And you keep ignoring. Things get sour, difficult, you still ignore. And then comes a desperate or a conspiracy where you have no choice but to move on and move forward. And yet we have our emotions still invested in the past, and you're still attached through your emotions, through your thoughts. You physically move on, but you're still there. And that creates further drama, and that doesn't let you flow in life very well. That comes to third point, need for the flow. Again, it sounds like an extension of the second one, but you need to continue flowing. We are here. We are amazing spiritual beings who are here to experience various experiences of life. And when we get attached, we miss out on experiencing a lot of things, a lot of possibilities that a soul has designed for us. Hence, it is important to be detached. Now you would wonder if these are the stories, why would even you get attached? That's a program given to you so that you do not unnecessarily keep jumping from one relation to another or from one experience to another with your whims and fancies. Attachment keeps you grounded in this material plane. Attachment keeps you in the game of life. Attachment keeps you in relationships. Attachment makes you value. Attachment helps you create bonding. Now you can do all these things. You can grab the brilliance and let go of the wrapper called attachment. So just because you're detached, it doesn't mean you reject your people. It doesn't mean that you let go of what you have. It doesn't mean that you kind of ignore what you already have or you've got. When you're detached, it won't matter. When you're indifferent, you may hate, you may reject, you may just bypass it. It's very easy to be detached when you have nothing. Okay, because there's nothing to get detached to or detached from. However, true test and the real detachment comes when you are right there in the middle of everything. So one of my teachers had said a wonderful story on attachment and detachment. He said there were two friends who were disciples of a Sufi saint, and they spent considerable time of the youth under training of the Sufi saint. And after the training was over, one of them became a fakir, and one got back into his household. He got married, he had two wives, roaring business, a lot of staff members, children, property, land, everything to look after. One day in a marketplace, Fakir and the businessman, they meet, they hug, they're so happy to see each other. The businessman said, "Come home." So Fakir accepted the invite. His wives cooked lovely meals, both of them had. They kept chatting. throughout the night. And pretty late in the night, he said, "Look, yaar, what have you got into?" The fakir said to the businessman. "We haven't been trained for all this. You're now entangled into the stories, your wife's business. We were trained to be fakirs, to reach out to people, to travel places. Come, let's go." So the businessman said, "Yes, sure. I think I should. Give me a few hours." So he called all his staff members, called his wives, took their permission, spoke to children, handed over necessary documents, keys, whatever needed to allow things to go smooth. And then he said, "Let's go." So they started walking. After a half a kilometer or so, the fakir friend said, "Oh, we'll have to go back." So the businessman said, "Why?" He said, "I've forgotten my baking bowl at your place." And the businessman smiled. He said, "We'll go back, but I'm not coming with you because you have only one possession, your begging bowl, and you're attached to that. And I have given up everything in a minute. Who's more detached, you or me? And if I can be detached, being in this household, so be it. That's how it is." So you don't have to go to Himalayas. You don't have to renounce anything. Even if you renounce, let go of everything. But if your mind is there, your heart is there, your emotions are there, you're still attached. You can be right in the middle of roaring business, thriving family, a lot of excitement and exciting events, and yet you could be completely detached. Nothing would matter, and yet everything would matter. Where you can give your best and expect nothing. You complete your life from moment to moment, complete your emotions from moment to moment. Live your life 100% and move on to the next moment. That's detachment all about. Any question now? That's all? You can unmute and speak. Okay, if that's the case, at least let's disconnect from live streaming on